Hello everybody, I'm Dinobots17, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the new Power of the Primes reveals from HasCon 2017. Now HasCon is a convention that Hasbro's kind of created to combine all of their toy properties all into one event, one building. And for the first HasCon that they did, there was no one there, so. But we did have some new reveals, so let's get into that. So I'm going to first talk about Predaking. He didn't get revealed, but we do know what date he's going to be revealed. The only real info we have on Predaking is that we saw a teased image, which shows basically a silhouette of what it'll look like, and then we had a mock-up that was shown. And if you go to the page on Sabertron where they show the picture of the mock-up, a good amount of the comments say, "Oh man, this sucks. This looks cheap. I'm not gonna buy this. I had so much hope for Hasbro, but they screwed it up. Why does the official toy look like this?" When they don't understand the word mock-up. It's not the official thing. It's just a base idea of what it will somewhat look like. It doesn't transform. It's probably not even made of full plastic. It's just a statue, and it just basically shows the size. And the designers did say that they were going to reveal it at New York Toy Fair, unless they mistaken it for New York Comic-Con, which is on the 8th of October. It's soon. Next information I have is on the new Power of the Primes Starscream. I think we can all confirm that this is a combiner. The designers and Hasbro has just kind of like dodged every single question we've asked of them. They just don't want us to know what the Starscream combiner's name or what it looks like is. But we did get to see the side of the box, which shows kind of artwork of Starscream's combined mode form. And I believe the name is going around for the combiner is King Starscream, which if you think about it is actually quite fitting for Starscream's character of how narcissistic he is, and the fact that his combined form has a crown on it. So yeah, that really fits his character a lot. But people were trying to take pictures of the back of the box, like, at the convention, and funny enough, buddy of mine, Cringe, Lord Cringy the Cringiest, was at HasCon, and he was trying to take a picture of the back of the box with his phone, and because he was being so obvious, the security came up and they stopped him, and he thought he was in trouble. But after he tried to take a picture of the back of the box, they went into the case and they put a piece of paper behind the back of the box. So I don't think anybody got a picture of it. You can all thank Cringe. It's his fault. It's his fault. We don't know what it looks like. Getting into the actual reveals, we have Prime Master Cloudburst, which is Micronus Prime. We even have a picture of its weapon mode. So it's a Target Master 2, so Pretender, Target Master. Alright, I can dig that. And up next is a Leader Class Optimus Prime with a Deluxe Orion Pax. This is gonna look really good next to anybody's Combiner Wars Megatron on their shelves. It's just gonna look so awesome. To me, this is what I'm just saying right now, it looks a lot like MP10 to me. It just does. The waist is very similar, and the head is much more like sharp and angular, kind of like how MP10 was. And of course, included with the figure is the Matrix of Leadership, which goes inside of the figure's chest. A strange thing about the chest, in his leader class form, the front of the chest in robot mode is not the front of the truck in vehicle mode. The front of the truck in vehicle mode, the windows are too small to be the full chest of the figure. The truck's sides fold up and then swing around in front of the truck windows, and they give this more bulk to the front. It gives fake windows. And of course, Orion Pax has a more G1 style, which is, I like it. I like it a lot. Now, with the whole combination gimmick of the Deluxe Orion Pax combining with the trailer to form the Leader Class figure, you would think this would work a lot better for Power Master Prime, since that's basically how that gimmick worked. And it would have worked perfectly for this, but apparently they didn't release it because they explained it releasing a G1 styled Optimus with a Generation 2 styled Optimus, which is the Voyager, would have seemed too similar. Next up we have is a better picture of the Leader Class Rodimus that's coming out. We didn't really get to see a good picture of what the Deluxe Hot Rod for that Leader Class Rodimus would have looked like. It's a little bit taller than the average Deluxe, and it's smaller than a Voyager, so it's probably in between that size, in between Voyager Deluxe-ish type size. I would estimate that the Orion Pax would be around the same size as well, just a slightly bit taller than a regular Deluxe. Now there is another Leader Class figure along with some other figures that were revealed, but they're not full display figures, so they weren't actually shown, only images of the gray model prototype prototypes were shown. So I'm gonna talk about those later down in the video after I get through all this fully revealed display stuff. So just hold tight if you were expecting me to talk about a certain class figure that I didn't talk about. It's later in the video. Up next is a Dinobot combiner called Volcanicus. That's right, the Dinobots are fully revealed and they all combine into a combiner called Volcanicus. Not the Beast, which a lot of people are probably super happy about. Now, I have a good amount of issues about this combiner. First off, just by the prototype images and even some 3D models for the Earth Wars game, like some animation models, I personally think it looks like crap. That's just my thought. It kind of looks like crap. And it's not that all of it in total looks like crap, it's just a certain part. And that's Grimlock. His combiner torso mode is just crap. It looks horrible. And I don't know whether it's the fact that the prototype picture is mistransformed, because even there's in-hand images that they showed at HasCon, and the whole time, I never saw a picture of it standing on its own. There was always like a designer holding on to it. Now, that might be for security reasons, so nobody picks it up and walks off with it, but it to me looks like it couldn't even structurally hold itself up. And I think that's a fact. It has these tiny feet, which do have ankle rockers, kind of like how Computron and Victorion had. Now, the hands and the feet can hold the Prime Masters or even a Titan Master, the same thing. They can hold them within compartments in the hands and feet. I think you can really notice it a lot better in the feet. You can kind of see the big gaps in the feet. One strange thing to note about the hands is it has 2 thumbs. I don't know. I mean, I guess it kind of works for the whole big brute monster kind of combiner aesthetic. My voice keeps cracking. But the head sculpt for the combiner looks amazing, and the Dinobots themselves actually look pretty good too. Speaking of, Voyager Grimlock. I don't know, there's something odd about how the Grimlock looks. I don't know what it is, but the robot mode for Grimlock just looks strange to me. But the Dino mode, his T-Rex mode, looks really cool. The only issue is that he has these super tiny toes. I don't know why they gave him super tiny toes. It makes the legs look less like T-Rex feet and more just like blocks. Also, in the fact that he has 4 toes, 2 on the front and 2 on the back, I don't know. I mean, the Fall Cybertron one in Dino mode had 2 toes in the front and 1 toe in the back, which makes a little bit more sense to me. They were on little hinges and they folded back. But other than that, it looks really good. Even the Dino mode is definitely G1 styled. After that, we have in the Deluxe category, of course, we have Sludge, Snarl, Slug, and Swoop, which all in themselves look pretty decent. I mean, you have to consider that these are Dinobots that are their own thing and they combine, and the fact that they were able to do this was actually really cool. I don't know why, but all the Dinobots shown, especially in the display pictures, almost look cheap. I don't know what it is. I think it's the silver and gold plastic combined with the clear plastic on some of the parts. Actually, I think they all do. Yeah, they all have clear plastic on their head. And it does kind of, it's definitely G1 toy aesthetic. Now, when you get the figure, it probably won't be cheap at all. It'll probably feel nice and solid. I'm not going to go into the Dinobots individually in detail. I might talk a little bit about one here or there, but the size classes for the Dinobots, I don't really think they fit well. Grimlock's a Voyager, and then the rest of them are Deluxes. You'd really think of the Dinobots as, bigger characters. I would think of them as Voyagers, and then Grimlock be either a slightly larger Voyager or a leader. I don't know how you would exactly fit that with the, combiner gimmick. I think you could definitely put a combiner port with 4 Voyagers and a leader, but the whole Deluxe class, they look great. It's just the size class I don't think really fits well, but I think they'll be really good figures anyway. Now, the one thing that got me was that the official rendered image of Swoop shows him with a red chest, and then the actual display piece that was shown, the physical toy, had a blue chest. So I'm not too sure on how they're going to be. I imagine that the retail figure will actually have a blue chest. Swoop with a little bit of blue as the chest really breaks up the reds and the silvers, but I don't know why would they it's kind of confusing. And after that, we have Legends Class Slash, who is apparently the first female Dinobot, or the first official female Dinobot. Now, along with all the other Legends Class figures, she can integrate Prime Masters into her alt mode. Basically looks like they kind of sit in, like they're sitting on top of her Raptor mode. But I don't know what kind of involvement she will have in the Volcanicus combiner form. I don't know if she's going to be like an attachment to the chest, or attachment to the back, or turn into a gun. I'm not not too sure. She possibly might not even have any integration at all. Even if she doesn't, she's still gonna look like a very good figure on her own, and especially on your shelf. Even if she doesn't, she's still gonna look like a good figure on her own. Now, with all of the, officially revealed content, the officially revealed figures that were actually shown at HasCon, I want to cover some prototypes that were never revealed in the past, along with some gray model reveals of future Power of the Prime figures. First up, they had, at HasCon, they had a display case with a bunch of prototypes of a whole bunch of figures, but they also had some prototypes for some unreleased figures, including what looked like a repaint of Transformers Prime Bumblebee to look like how he did in the Scraplet episode, where he looked like he had like the chew lines, the chew marks all up around his body, and I guess he would have come with a Scraplet, because it shows a Scraplet right next to it, along with a War for Cybertron Bumblebee that had the chew marks all over it that came with the Scraplet as well. I imagine that if these were released, they probably would have come out in like a 2-pack or something. After that, they showed a prototype for what would have been a Dark of the Moon blaster remolded from the Dark of the Moon Soundwave. I'm actually really surprised this didn't get a full retail release. This actually looks pretty neat, and the red Mercedes with the gold all over it, it looks really good to me. And it even has a remolded face. I guess it would have been the only Movieverse blaster we would have gotten. It's kind of sad, and I'm really surprised that it didn't get released as a full figure. Maybe that's because that Soundwave got canceled for the US during Dark of the Moon. That might be it. And up next is the gray model prototype for Deluxe Moon Racer for Power of the Primes, which, if you look at it, it's definitely going to be remolded into Nova Star or Firestar. Some part of it looks like it's, I don't know if it's remolded, but it's like the design for RID Sideswipe was kind of adapted to this, because if you look at the legs, it reminds me a lot of RID Sideswipe, just in the fact the big feet with the, what looks like a panel underneath the foot, which would probably be like the top of the car, some part of the top portion of the car, and then the big leg kibble on the side, which make up the wheels. After that, we have as one of the limbs to Abominus, which is Ripper Snapper. This thing looks beautiful. I love almost every part of this thing. The claw hands, the beast mode with its like weird 2-legged bird shark walking claw shit of nightmares kind of thing. It just looks so cool. I hope that all the other Terrorcons look just as good as how this does. And up next we have is Voyager Hun-gurr. Oh, dang it, I spoke too soon. So the first thing about this Hun-gurr is that it's a really heavy remold based off of Combiner Wars Silverbolt. You can really see it in the arms of the robot mode. You can more so see Silverbolt's legs in the beast mode because the legs make up the head of the, would you call it a dragon? I guess you would call it a dragon. Of course, we can't see the face. For some reason, they've blocked it. With the robot mode looking decent and the beast mode looking, okay. I hope at least the combined form is nice and big and bulky and looks good. And last, but certainly not least, leader class Optimal Optimus, with a Deluxe Optimus Primal. Now, you look at the Deluxe. Look at this Deluxe Optimus Primal. It looks cool, right? Now, it's next to the artwork. The artwork, he's holding swords. In the gray model prototype picture, it looks kind of like he's holding the guns for the Optimal Optimus leader form, but he's holding them like swords, which is, I don't know, looks more like he's just got these big sticks he's gonna hit you with. But the Deluxe robot mode looks pretty good, right? It doesn't turn into a gorilla. In fact, it doesn't turn into any kind of beast at all. Do you know what Optimus Primal turns into? A jet. Or in other words, a surfboard for his leader form. I guess they sacrificed the beast mode in order to have a simpler way of combining it, with the rest of the figures. But come on, you gotta include that. Now, one good thing to note about the Deluxe Optimus Primal, it comes with a Matrix of Leadership, and it does store in the compartment that Prime's spark was held in, which was the cockpit of the vehicle form. So that's one good homage to include. The Optimal Optimus robot mode looks pretty good, even though, it looks exactly like the original one somewhat. The original figure came with the panels that kind of combined together, and they would clip up top over the shoulders, and then they could clip on the arms. Also, another issue with the leader combination form, we see him turn into we see his gorilla form, and then we see renders of it in jet mode, but I don't see any wheels on the gray model at all. So I'm assuming that this thing doesn't turn into its armored car / tank form. Also, what is cool is the fact that this thing has a feature on it that the original toy did not, in the fact that it can, in robot mode, it can fold away the chest cannons. And I know this because I can see in the In the CAD renders, you can see a hinge where the cannons pop out. So I'm making a hypothesis that the cannons can either fold back or detach, meaning that you can't have him in robot mode without his big cannons sticking out of his chest. I don't know. I mean, yes, it's still a good looking figure, but I don't know if it's going to be really any better than the original Beast Wars figure. There's just parts taken away from it that could have made it such a better figure if those certain aspects were included. So that's the end of the video. Don't forget, you can like this video, comment, and even subscribe, but only if it's your pleasure. Follow my social media links down in the description below. I'm About17, and I will see you later.